Stay informed with Weather Center all day today and every day.
In the next half hour, Weather Center AM, a comprehensive national forecast. At 40 after, Weather Center AM continues with highway and air travel conditions. Then the weekend outlook. And at 50 after, Storm Watch. But right now, it's your local forecast on the Weather Channel.
Southeastern states should stay on the guard today for another threat of severe weather. Good morning and welcome to Weather Center, sponsored by Walgreens. I'm Dan Atkinson.
And I'm Kristen Dodd. Flood watches and warnings also cover a wide area as heavy rain continues. And that rain is moving up the east coast, eventually spreading moisture from the Gulf all the way to New England. Now, these are the areas right now that are under flash flood watches. All the areas indicated in the darker shade of green, including Nashville, Knoxville, Chattanooga, and heading all the way up toward Pittsburgh as heavy rain has been coming down here in the past 24 hours as an estimated 5, possibly a Doppler radar estimated 5 inches of rainfall, especially here in the areas in yellow and also some areas in the orangish shades, but easily 2 inches plus, stretching all the way down to Houston, Texas. Now we have had reports of flooding in many areas, and so if you do see flooded conditions, you want to head for higher ground. Do not walk or drive through those flood waters, and do not drive. You want to drive away from them, never through them, and please keep the children and the pets away from the flood waters. It can lead to a lot of problems. Heavy rain continuing to come down in Atlanta, this moving up to the northeast now at about 15 miles an hour. Not very fast to move, and it does look like the rain will be in the Atlanta skies at least for the midday and early afternoon hours. We also see the potential for severe weather here in the south later on this afternoon as we have our front come through and an area of low pressure riding along this front. Plenty of moisture streaming ahead of it, and when those two meet in the southeast, that's where we could see some rough conditions. We do see some clearing skies for Memphis, also stretching toward Dallas and San Antonio, but plenty of cloud cover in store for the rest of the afternoon in much of the southeast. Jacksonville at this hour, you have 75 degrees, Atlanta 56 with that rain coming down, New Orleans 60, and Dallas right now 55 degrees. The clouds stretch into the northeast and they are thickening, especially up over toward Boston. You've already had the clouds in Pittsburgh and Philadelphia throughout the day. It looks like more rain is also going to be coming down during the day. Some tapering off for Cleveland and also in Pittsburgh by tonight. But this all moving up to the northeast and now gracing the skies of New York City. Eventually we'll be sweeping past Hartford and also Boston, but we should see some clearing conditions for tomorrow. But before then, as much as an inch of rain could fall in Pittsburgh, and also as you're heading over toward areas just north of Philadelphia. Also flash flood watches are posted for West Virginia, heading down toward the mountains of Tennessee. Also heavy rainfall here with storms that are just now beginning to move into the panhandle of Florida. Right now, Boston, you have 59 degrees, Philadelphia 53, Pittsburgh a chilly, rainy 45 degrees. We do have a little bit of rain in the Midwest as well, and Dan has more on that.
Thanks, Kristen. Conditions on the West Coast are where you'll find beautiful springtime weather. Meanwhile, only a small part of the Midwest is getting precipitation now. There's a chance for strong storms later moving in from the plains. Here's a look at the Midwest map, and we have at the surface a weak system, low pressure moving across eastern North Dakota. Meanwhile, at the upper levels of the atmosphere, there's a cold vortex, cold upper level low over southwestern North Dakota, and some of that cold air has worked its way down and resulted in some snow for you at Minot, North Dakota. Also now latest reports some snow and gusty winds at Ellsworth Air Force Base at Rapid City. But much of the Midwest is dry, although precipitation is showing up on radar extensively. A lot of this not reaching the ground. You are getting some light rain now across portions of South Dakota, as we'll see. You have had from time to time some occasional sprinkles in the Minneapolis-St. Paul area. That rain continuing to sweep in from the southwest, just occasional light rain for you. Meanwhile, across North Dakota, some occasional light rain. While you're in the 30s, it's cold rain falling at Bismarck and some light snow showers around Minot, North Dakota. Meanwhile, at Rapid City, South Dakota, you're getting winds out of the northwest, gusting up 35 miles per hour. And from time to time, getting some sprinkles at places like Valentine, Nebraska, and Huron and Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Temperatures across the Midwest, 54 degrees now in Chicago. Looks like this precipitation will be still to your west through the day. You should be partly sunny in Chicago, a dry day on tap for you, but the possibility of more sprinkles in Minneapolis, where the temperature is 47, 35 now in Rapid City, South Dakota, and you factor in those strong winds. The wind chill is 8 degrees there, but no significant wind chill as you move on toward the east, but 13 the wind chill now at Minot, North Dakota. Temperatures across the country in the past 24 hours have changed by they're 12 degrees colder across portions of eastern Montana. As you can see, that cold air pulling down into that low pressure center over the northern plains. Right now, Salt Lake City dry and 43, San Francisco 52, Portland 41 degrees. High pressure over the western portion of the country, keeping things generally dry. You do occasionally have a little bit of snow at Stampede Pass and a little bit of fog to deal with around Point Conception and up around Medford, Oregon. Meanwhile, we take a look at what's in store for the midday, and we'll find low pressure tracking right up the Appalachians, continuing to spread rain right on into the northeast. Still rainy for you around midday, say in Atlanta, but early in the afternoon you should find conditions improving. But mid-afternoon the rain should be pushing on into the Boston area, and still some light precipitation across the northern plains. For Monday morning, we'll expect to see the precipitation still widespread across the northeast, and in particular you can look for today to be a rainy day in New York with a high of about 55 degrees and rain.
Second, stay informed.